A stock can move sharply in a single day, and by the time the headlines explain why, the real information may already have been filed with the SEC. That is why serious investors use EDGAR. Not because they read every filing, but because they know where to look, what to compare, and how to go back to the source before relying on someone else's summary. In this video, I'll show you a practical way to use EDGAR to research a stock without getting overwhelmed. EDGAR is the SEC's public filing database. At first glance, it can feel like a giant archive of legal and financial documents, but used properly, it is much more than that. It is a research tool that helps you move from noise to evidence. The key is to stop thinking about EDGAR as a place where you read everything, and start thinking about it as a place where you answer specific questions. When you begin researching a company, start by searching the ticker or company name. Once you are on the company record, the most useful approach is to move in sequence. Start with the filing that gives you the broadest understanding of the business. Then move to the most recent update so you can see what changed. Finally, check whether there are newer filings tied to major events or developments. That sequence matters because it gives you context. Without context, filings are just documents. With context, they become a story. Take Meta as an example. If you were researching the company, you would not want to begin with the latest headline about artificial intelligence spending or a one-day stock move. You would want to begin with the filing that explains how the business works, where the revenue comes from, what the major risks are, and what management says is driving performance. Then you would compare that with the latest update to see whether advertising demand, expenses, margins, or capital spending had changed meaningfully. That process tells you far more than commentary alone. Now consider a different situation. Imagine a stock drops sharply and the internet fills with speculation. That is when EDGAR becomes especially valuable. Instead of guessing, you can go back to the filings and check whether the company disclosed something material. In cases like SVB Financial Group in 2023, official filings gave investors direct disclosure of major balance sheet actions and capital plans at a moment when facts mattered far more than rumors. This is the real advantage of using EDGAR well. It helps you replace reaction with process. And process matters. One filing gives you a snapshot. Reading filings in sequence gives you a timeline. It shows you where the company was, what changed, and whether something important just happened. That is also why good search and filtering tools matter. When you use a platform like secfilingdata.com, the goal is not just to locate documents, it is to reduce friction. You want to move quickly from a company search to filing history to comparison, and then to alerts that keep you updated without forcing you to check manually every day. That last step, alerts, is what makes the workflow sustainable. The SEC receives thousands of filings every day, and no investor is going to monitor all of that manually. But if you follow a set of companies and set alerts for new filings, the updates that matter come to you. There is also a deeper advantage to working this way. Primary filings protect you from hype, selective framing, and secondhand interpretation. If a company is being heavily promoted, if a stock is making a sudden move, or if social media is full of strong opinions, EDGAR gives you a way to pause and ask the most important question: what was actually filed? That question alone can save investors from a great deal of noise. So if you want a practical way to use EDGAR, keep it simple. Search the company. Start with the filing that gives you the broadest view of the business. Move to the latest update to see what changed. Check for newer event-driven filings if something important happened. Then set alerts so future filings come to you automatically. That is how to use SEC filings as a research system instead of a document pile. If this helped, check the description for links to secfilingdata.com and official SEC investor resources. And if you want more videos on how to use filings intelligently without getting overwhelmed, subscribe. The investors with an edge are not always the loudest. Very often, they are simply the ones willing to go back to the source.